So for those of you joining, thank you so much for joining. We're really happy that you chose to join us this morning. And I'm going to go right ahead and get started. So welcome to our HR hour on recruiting. Today, I'm going to be presenting along with Simona, my product manager colleague, and we also have for Q&A support. So anytime you want to put something in the Q&A, please do. We've got Julia and Marina here, and we will take live questions at the end as well. So we've got some time for that. So you will hear from those guys at that point. So let's kick right in and look at what we're going to go through today. So really around three or four main topics here. We're thinking about how to build really efficient and scalable planning to hiring processes. So right through from thinking what might that role be, getting the sign off, and then hiring that person. Then we're going to give you some hints and tricks and tips for creating a smarter hiring process. So I love at this time of year to be thinking about what can I do better next year. I know loads of people leave that to January in the rush, but also really great to do at this time of year as well. Thirdly, we're going to be deep diving into insights. We've had some questions already on insights, and we know it's a really hot area for everyone to look at. And then Simona is going to be taking us through a flavour of 2026. So first of all, quick poll, just to see how extensively you think you're using the recruiting app at the moment. Perhaps you're not using it at all. That also could be an option. Perhaps you're, feeling like you should be the one up here presenting. Who knows? Just give us a flavour of how you're feeling and whether you're using the app already. I can see some votes coming in, and I think so far it's pretty split actually so far between lots of people saying, I'd say like 60% saying they're using most of the features regularly, but then we've got a good sort of 30% as well saying they're only using a few. So really good to know. Some real super users, it seems, who are using almost all of the features comprehensively. So really great to know where you guys are at, and hopefully we can make sure that we give a flavour for everyone. Right, let me just share my screen again because I think we have lost that after the poll. Here we go. Hopefully everyone's got my screen back again. So today we are going to be meeting Eva and walking through a few things from Eva's point of view. Eva, our HR manager, probably a bit like you, has quite a challenging role. She's got loads of operational items on her to-do list, but she's also trying to think about improvements she can make for 2026. So I'm going to take you through various capabilities, bring it to life, and just try and, step into the shoes of Eva. She's at our demo company, which we call Colehorn. Some of you might have been to our What's New events and seen Eva and Colehorn at this as well. So let's flip over and look at what Eva is going to be doing today. So now you've got Personio and Eva, and she, as I said, is experiencing a very busy end of year. She's thinking about the mad scramble to finish things up, but also thinking about, the year ahead. So she's going to dive into the planning app here. Earlier this year, for those of you who don't know, we actually announced that workforce planning is no longer a standalone product that you have to subscribe to separately. Really good news, because it's now automatically available to our Core Pro customers. So if you're not already a Core Pro customer, please talk to us about upgrading. If you are, then take a look under the bonnet here and see what you can do. So let's say Eva is in discussion with her CFO about headcount planning, and she's working through a few things with the finance team. Just going to take a quick look in here for those of you who've not seen the plans and the active cycles part of planning. So here, essentially, you can set up a cycle, and taking a quick look here, this is a really good way of making sure that you align company resources with your business objectives. And also, in case you weren't sure, this is actually connected with job architecture as well, which you need to have set up in order to use this planning area. So here you can create a cycle. One of the someone who Eva knows, Anna Reiser, has set up a cycle, and she can then create positions within this cycle and submit it for review. So this is the part where it really builds that organizational alignment. So once she's done that, she submits it, and it can go up the chain, or however you may have set up the approval chain for that review. So just hopping back over here into the general area, let's just say Eva is wanting to create a new position just outside of cycle for the moment, and let's have a dig into here. So she clicks new position and then decides, and in this case, she's working with someone called Alfred, who is part of the Dutch business in the Netherlands here. So she's got the choice to choose the legal entity here, and also she can pop in the details of the hiring manager, of who will be the supervisor. In this case, it's going to be Alfred for all of those things. She's got choice over department, and this is going to be an accounting role here, and then where this person is based. So being part of the Dutch team, let's have this person situated in Amsterdam. We wish they might start today, but that's not going to be possible. So this is also possibly a stretch goal to aim for January here, but let's go for that one. And then this is what I really wanted to show you here, the interlinkage with the job architecture. So essentially, because Eva's already got that set up, when she hops into this position here, she can already choose where that role is and where it sits within the job level as well. So in this case, she's going to go for it being an established accountant. This then brings up right here the salary band information, and actually, if she's going to, she can choose to put in an annual salary here, or if she wants to skip this part, it will automatically choose the midpoint of the salary band here. So let's create this role now. Now, if this had been part of that cycle, it might have gone for approval, etc. But just to do this shortcut demo today, let's imagine it's now been signed off, and then I want to show you that linkage essentially. So hopping over to Eva's inbox here, let's have a look where this might be, and let me just try and find this. I've got way too many actions here. I think I'm having trouble with it coming through. So unfortunately, this hasn't worked, and I'm really not sure why. So I'm going to skip on in the interest of time, and I might be able to come back and show you this part afterwards. If not, I will try and do a little demo to send everyone afterwards as part of the follow-up. But apologies for that. I'm very sure it's probably my user error, and perhaps Simona can show us this later. So now that we've seen a bit of planning, and I wanted to show you that recruiting link, obviously, let's think about creating smarter hiring processes and what we might do there. So I'm going to come back into the slide deck for a moment. So we looked at planning, and now we're going to dive into a bit about smarter processes. So here we're going to look at three things. I'm going to take you through stage lengths, like thinking about how long you want your stage lengths to be and possibly shortening those processes, looking at the use of smart tags, and then also looking at talent pools as well. So let's jump right back into recruiting. Here we go. So what I want to do is have a little look at a particular job here. Let's say that Eva is in the middle of recruiting for an SEO marketing manager. Now, she wants to have a quick look at the insights for this specific job role here. So she can have a look. And what I want to draw attention to here is the time to hire. Now, I may well have exaggerated this for massive effect, but let's just say that Eva's diving into her metrics here and realizes that this is a super long stage, just completely unacceptable. Obviously, this is not realistic. One would hope that it's not going to be 228 days. But let's say that she has discovered a problem here.
Sorry, Catherine, just a quick note. The slides are still showing and we didn't hop onto the insights yet.
Oh, apologies. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, everyone. Okay. So just taking you back to situate where I am. So we're looking in a particular job in the recruiting, and we're looking at the SEO marketing manager. Now, Eva has gone over to the insights part of this job, and she is looking at the time to hire. This is the part where I was saying that I have massively exaggerated this. One would hope that we wouldn't really have 228 days as part of any cycle here. But obviously, this is a demo situation, and Eva can see, okay, that is a bit of a red flag here. So what can she do about it? So she then decides to go over to her recruiting settings and have a look, a bit more of a deeper dive in here. So as you saw, you navigate to settings and then into recruiting. And then here, she can come into the stages and see what's happening. So here she's got the choice to change any stage lengths that she wants. We could see that personal interview should in fact be 14 days. That was the target here. Perhaps she wants to change this to be more like 7 days, and she can just quickly set the days in stage there. That means that if the candidate exceeds that number, their name will be flagged in that applications list. So let's just make that change now and save that right here. Great. So perhaps also Eva might have been in discussion with, her exec team, and they're really looking at ways to make this whole process slicker. And perhaps there's been some sort of decision at a high level that the coding case is not really working. It's taking up too much time for everybody, and doesn't really help differentiate candidates in the way that they hoped when they set it up. So in this case, she's just going to completely delete the stage and get rid of that. So let's do that. Obviously, we get a warning because we're going to delete something, and then she decides to delete that stage. So you can see that it's no longer part of this. So that was a quick dive into stages within settings. And now we're going to take a look at tags and what you can do here to really fine tune and surface, fine tune your process, but also surface some really great things that you can go back to when it comes to talent pools. So thinking about Eva's next year, I'm going to pretend in this case that she has been talking to hiring managers, in particularly in the sales team and in the customer services team, and she wants to make sure that her recruiters are actually surfacing people with Salesforce skills, for example. So she's going to go right here and create a new tag called Salesforce. She can choose whichever color she likes. Let's choose a vaguely Salesforcey color here and save that. And you can see that that's appeared here. So next she wants another one called, let's call it outbound in this case. So typical sales skills, outbound, and that's something that has surfaced through her conversations that the team really need to get better at. So they're looking for people with experience of outbound. And then perhaps another new one might be multilingual candidates. So she pops that in here too. And you can just carry on exactly as you want to. So that's the last part within the settings. I'm going to hop back now to recruiting to see how this can actually help you in your day-to-day life. And let's look at how we can use those tags within our talent pools. So we're going to go over to applications just now. And one little tip that I want to give you, I'm not sure if you're using this already, but let's give it a go. Within your category, you can filter here by talent pool. So that will then bring up all of your candidates who are within the talent pool. Now, one great way that you can get back to this really easily is just hit here, save as new view. You then call it talent pool, and then you can see on your left that you've got a talent pool. So, you know, that will always be on your list directly when you come to the applications part here. So now we've got a talent pool. Let's have a quick look at Tom here and see if we can add any tags to Tom. So you've got right here, add tag. If we click this one, we can then see the tags that we have just added. So let's say he's super power user of Salesforce, so we want to tag him for that. And he speaks a couple of languages as well. So you can see those tags appearing right up there. So this is a super quick and easy way of you to really surface those candidates, so you know exactly, you know, in the moment when you're talking to them or when your recruiters have been talking to them, exactly where their skills lie. And then obviously going down the list here, you can carry on with that process. Okay, let's now jump into a different efficiency. And this is all about getting your calendars integrated and making those interviews really, really quick and seamless, and a great workflow for interviews. So I'm just going to hop over to a different screen here. And I'm going to show you the setting up of, for example, a phone interview. Let us pick Helena here as an example. So I'm going into Helena, and then I need to set up an interview for Helena. So I'm going to be scheduling a new interview. And I've decided that I need a phone interview. So I then want to select the interviewers here. And in this case, I know that on the hiring team, I need Chris, and I'm also going to choose Anita as well. Here we go. So I've got those two interviewers right there. And then what I want to do is make sure that all the calendars are synced directly in, and I can pick the best time for those people. Now, I don't need a room on this occasion because it's a phone interview. And I happen to know that both Chris and Anita both are in different offices anyway, so no rooms needed. So you can see here when exactly that interview might be, and when the free slots are. So if I, for example, click here, then I can select that slot for Helena. Great. And then you do also have a scheduling link option here, which means that once the candidate selects a slot, they will get that confirmation email. And if you are using video conferencing, then that email also includes that video conferencing link as well. And you will see in Personio, the status of the interview will appear as scheduled as well. And all of the internal participants will receive a task on their recruiting homepage showing them that they have an interview coming up. So So that's a quick whiz through the calendar and how you can find a slot for people in the calendar. So I'm going to come back to the slides now. Let me check that you've got my screen. Yes, you have. And that was a very quick whiz through, lots and lots of things there. I hope that was helpful. I'm not quite sure if there's questions coming in, but we will definitely make sure we get to those questions at the end anyway. We just looked at how you use the calendar integration to make things more efficient as well. And so just for a sense check, how efficient do you think that your hiring process is? I know there's probably always efficiencies that can be made. It'd be great to sort of hear from everyone whether they think it's super efficient or whether there's more efficiencies to be made. So let's see, the answers are coming in. I think the middle ground is winning at the moment. I can see most of the votes are for fairly efficient. So maybe feeling like there's some room for improvement. And we've got a few saying very efficient. No one is claiming to have extreme efficiency. Probably everyone knows that there's always something that can be done better or something that can be tweaked as well. We've got a couple of people not efficient at all. So I'm really hoping that some of the things that we've just run through can really help you bring up that efficiency for next year as well. So great. Thank you so much for voting. I think actually, let me see if I can share. I can't share the poll results. Apologies for that, but I will carry on with our presentation. So now we're going to talk about insights. This is a super popular area that we know everyone likes to dig into. I recently found out that Monday is the most popular day for everyone to look at the insights part of our recruiting app. So we should boost that even further today, I would say. So this is essentially where you can get that one-stop shop overview of your recruiting process and really dive in to see where you might want to make improvements. And before we go into back into Personio, I just wanted to set a bit of context here and think about what does good look like. Back to my point at the beginning of the webinar about, you might be thinking ahead to what can I improve next year? Some of you who answered that poll more along the lines of we've definitely got efficiencies. This hopefully should give you a bit of guidance on like where you can actually start to look for the types of things that you might want to do and essentially what good looks like to the outside world. Now, obviously, these metrics will vary a lot industry by industry. So this is only very, high level. You might need to look for those stats and metrics for your own industry. You hopefully already know what they are, but I just wanted to give that sort of overview. Interestingly, the global median time to hire is 38 days. I know we've probably got people from Germany on this call. It's maybe slightly longer, 55 days in Germany, which is interesting. But then on the flip side, Germany has that high offer acceptance rate at 91%, which is fantastic. I put a bit of information here on the data on candidate ghosting. So when this happens, it typically means that it's when it's too long and the candidate's maybe just got another offer and has gone out of the pipeline entirely. 73 applicants per role. This is interesting. I would be interested to hear about this stat for this time next year, because I suspect with the job market as it is, that could well go up. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to click back into our recruiting and take a look at insights. So here we have our hiring progress. I think my internet's just going on a slight slowdown, but In hiring progress, you've essentially got your total hires and your hires over time. And you can, for example, see it segmented by department, or if you want to use another filter here, you can do that. For example, you might want to say, right, how many remote hires have I made? So you would filter by workplace and then perhaps look for your remote tag here and click on that one. So that's your sort of overview of how you're progressing. I'm going to dive next into hiring efficiency and hoping that my internet's going to play ball with me. Apologies for this slowness here. Essentially, hiring efficiency here is, I would call it a pretty North Star metric. As you just saw on the slide, time to hire is, as I'm sure you know, one of those key metrics that's sort of quoted almost everywhere, anything to do with recruiting. So I think on the slide, the median global was 38 days. So let's see how Eva's doing here. She has got an average time to hire of 40 days. So actually not so bad in Eva's organization. Next, Next, I'm going to come on to pipeline health. And when you look in your system, you probably will also see this banner here. And that's because we introduced stage types earlier this year. And we did this to make sure that you can compare properly between roles, in other words, to get a really good overview. So you may have already had your own stages, and essentially this is here, stage type is essentially a standardization and grouping of these custom stages. So, for example, if for one role there's 2 interviews and for another role there's only 1 interview, then using the segmentation by stage type can actually compare. So let's just wait a moment for that to come up. So here you can see exactly what that looks like. So I think many of you want to see, for example, pipeline health by a particular job. And you can do that right here. You can just pick, SEO marketing manager, that we were looking at that one earlier, and go ahead and filter by that one. Now, I know that somebody popped a question on the Slido earlier today about how to track by department level. So again, same thing, you would just click here and then click into department, and then decide which department exactly that you want to look at. So hopefully that's one Q&A answered for you as well. So then let's go into offers here. This essentially gives you an overall offer acceptance rate as well as an acceptance rate over time. And again, once again, apologies for my slow internet today. It must have a Monday feeling. Here we go. So, I mean, on our demo account, we're looking incredibly good that our candidates are always accepting our offers here within all of our different roles. Imagine that yours might look a bit different. Let's now come into the applications area. And this gives you the number of incoming applications over time. So you can see the monthly average. And this is quite handy maybe for resource planning, for example. But another really interesting one that we advise to look at and get to grips with is recruiting channel. So this will give you that gauge of which channel is working well for you. And when this example decides to come up for us today, you'll see the different channels and how they've moved over time. So, for example, on here, we can see that social media used to be a bigger part of the picture. And actually now referrals is a bigger part of the picture. We've got that data here. So, you know, perhaps this is as a result of something Eva did to really boost a referral strategy and really focus on a referral strategy. And she can then use that data to go back to her stakeholders with the real proof point of, hey, this worked. Referrals are really working for our organization. Another segmentation that I like here is segmenting by legal entity. So if you are a HR person who's working across different businesses in, say, 4 different countries, this slice can give you that really good view on, okay, in the corporate HQ, maybe in the parent company, you're hiring, you've got this many applications coming in, but then within your other entities, you've got other amounts of applications, so you can really see that balance playing out. So let's move on to channels. We did just talk a little bit about channels a moment ago, but what I want to do here is scroll down to the hires per channel. And again, once my internet decides to speed up on this Monday morning, we will see the hires per channel. And I really like looking at this view in comparison to applications per channel, because, for example, you could have a huge amount of applications come in through a particular channel, but then here you might be finding that your hires per channel are actually low or negligible, and then you can really think about what that means. And, you know, is that channel then worthwhile? Yes, it gets the applications in, but is the quality there? Because people, you're not then hiring those people. So that's a good one to think about. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds to decide if this plays ball, but it's not looking likely. Here we go. It's decided to come up. It's this bottom chart that I really want to show you. So I'm going to give it one more minute and hopefully you can bear with me. And I know some of you might be sort of working through this on your own screens as well. So if you can find this in your own Personio right now, then you can have a look live at your own stats as we go. It's typical, it's this one chart that I really want to show you. But as I said, it shows you hires per channel, and it's a really good one to compare with the applications per channel. So in the interest of time, because I think we have got a fair few questions, I'm going to move on to disqualification reasons here. And this is reasons for rejection and withdrawal. And here you're also able to get behind the data a bit more. You can also export the data with, again, if my internet decides to, I do apologize for this, decides to play ball, what you'll see here is 3 little dots. And when you click those dots, hopefully you're following along at home, as it were, in your office, wherever you might be, coffee shop, you'll see those 3 dots, and right there you can click that and then hit export data, and you will get a list that you can then ping out into Excel, and that's where you can find your the actual reason as well for somebody moving out of the pipeline. Either they've withdrawn or you've rejected them. So let's come back out and hop back into our slide deck here. And I'm now really pleased to hand over to my colleague Simona, who's going to give you a bit of an overview of what's happening in 2026.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. My name is Simona. I'm one of the product managers working on making the recruitment app and Personio be everything you want it to be. And today, I don't want to take a long time, but I want to talk about 2026. But before going into like showing you what we have or the way we're thinking about the next year, I want to like touch on a few last minute, let's call them, before Christmas releases that we hope happen very soon. So one of them is legal entity multi-posting. This has been like a highly asked, highly requested improvement of our multi-posting functionality. This is extremely relevant for and if your brand handles like multiple legal entities, each with their own distinct branding and visual identity. So right now we are in alpha with selected cohort of customers, and they are testing this new experience where we're hoping to essentially like improve and create like a much better candidate experience, where your job, once it gets promoted and reaches like external job boards, it will carry over the complete set of visual identity. So having this correct name, the correct branding, being posted on the correct LinkedIn page, and then reaching back, for example, on the correct legal entity, which was a career page, which was already the case. But yeah, we expect this to reach everyone by the end of the year, but we wanted to call it out here. And the next one that I wanted to talk about, which I think is also something that potentially is on your mind, is like being able to search applications on various attributes. So we're working in extending the set of attributes that one can search for beyond names. So being able to search by location, language skills, phone number, or other attributes that are part of the CV. Right now the team is like working through like last bits of this new functionality, and inside the product you'll know when this reaches you. I also want to call out that this is something that will work on the new application list. So in your accounts you might see that most all of you are could be part of a potential beta on the application list. However, like this particular functionality will exclusively be on the new application list. So definitely give it a try, get used to it, give us some feedback on that, but this will follow shortly. Cool. So where we're going with 2026 is we started first getting a good sense of how does our customer feedback look like. So instead of iterating and adding upon existing functionality, which we intend to do anyways, we wanted to like go back a bit to the basic and understand what are the areas that cause the highest frustration right now with some of you. And we've identified the job creation flow. So essentially like creating a job from scratch and publishing on your career page. We understand that the experience is a little bit fragile. Some of you would like more customization, a better customization of errors, and making sure that the information is properly displayed both on the career page and on the job promotion aspect of it. So in this bucket, we also saw a lot of feedback coming back in the display capability. So some of you not being able to see what actually happens when this job is promoted, what happens when you unpublish the job. So clearly providing more visibility there is like top of mind. And the third bucket that we've looked at that like very much tells the same story as the previous one is the career page. Here again, like when you speak about visual identity, lots of you would want to be able to bring more of that identity into the career pages, making sure that correct jobs are visible there. Like when you unpublish, they go away. So like the connection between those two, like being stronger. The fourth bucket that maybe you're feeling this a little bit is the email comms aspect of things. So like the reliability of like sending and receiving emails, simplifying the email integration and troubleshooting around like when it fails. as well as like improving our unassigned messages functionality. So like that particular part of the product where you're receiving a bulk of communication and doing a better job at like potentially not having any unassigned messages, but also once you have them, like being able to action from there a bit faster. Something that we've heard before going to like the fourth bucket across the previous four ones is the fragility of our editor, like the text editor. And whenever you're using it, potentially like the text gets formatted across those different surfaces, and you might end up in like something that you didn't really intend to from like a font size point of view and so on. So that's definitely top of mind. The fifth bucket of hiring. So here as well, like having that better handoff between, you hire the candidate and now it becomes an employee. So making sure that the correct attribution is carried over, like all the information that you collected about that candidate goes into their employee profile more seamlessly. And the last bucket is search, but I've already talked about how like we're already working on that. Still, like it is something that was very highly mentioned, being able to expand on the attributes that one can search. Okay, and with all these buckets, we're essentially like refining our approach for 2026, and our vision will go strongly in the direction of like from source to signed. Personio recruiting helps recruiters attract and hire qualified candidates faster and smarter. And while potentially this sounds like not so tangible for you, I wanted to like break that down into what it actually means. So we're gonna move away from like a feature list to like more of an outcome driven roadmap. And here focusing on these three buckets, three pillars, if you will, for next year. So one is a commitment to enhance the candidate communication management. So everything around like the messaging aspect that I mentioned. We expect to make this reliable, easy to set up, and like seamless to use as it should be, because it's the way you are like showing up to candidates. The second pillar is around like better recruitment efficiency. So making sure you're spending less time on like mundane or like high frequency tasks. So looking at like the entire daily workflow, and for us to understand like how can we improve that. And potentially it might be something like, the text formatting breaks and you have to like manually adjust it in 5 places. So like we would consider that something that needs to be better. And underneath this like 2 pillars, but like having one of its own, is this improved platform stability. So throughout those 6 feedback topics, we've heard a lot that the reliability, the stability, like the errorless, ideally, experience within recruiting is highly desirable. So we definitely want to make sure there's a reliable and consistent product experience, which also means like building a lot on our foundations. Yeah, that's all that I wanted to go through.
Thank you so much, Simona. So let's have some time for questions. So I also invite my colleagues as well on stage.
Hi. Good to see you.
I will hand over to you, Marina, for this.
Yeah, thank you. So there is one question in the chat. Julia and I already tried to answer most of them, but there are some in the chat. So we have a question from Esther saying, are there any updates planned for the evaluation, e.g. downloading an overview of all evaluations as an Excel sheet?
So what I can say is that this is a very specific ask. I think we are not evaluating like our 26 roadmap in the individual improvements. Again, like within our evaluation of, is this like a high friction, high frequency type of job, and can we do a better, can we do it better? We will take that into account, but TLDR, like nothing planned on that side.
Thank you, Simona. And another question around roadmap or customer candidate communication is I noticed that when we schedule interviews through the recruiting app, the messages are sitting inside each of the applicants and they don't go to the Personio inbox. Is there a way to get the messages into either Personio inbox or to a custom inbox, our own shared inbox?
So I think by Personio inbox, you're referring to the surface in Personio where all your notifications are. Right now, that is not connected to inbox. However, it is connected to updates on the recruiting overview. So when you enter the product, you have this like home view, and in that update section, you should be able to see like the messages. Otherwise, all of these come to your email address as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Simona. And also, I don't know if this is too specific, but someone asked, "Hi, when will CV parsing be improved as it is currently not working, and will it also be available for Dutch CVs? Is it available for all languages?"
I think so. On the first part of the question, I think we would need to understand a bit better what not working means. In terms of improving it, yeah, like there's no active work planning that is planned on the CV parsing topic itself, but we are looking at ways of like optimizing the current experience. If that means like adding additional languages, I'm not sure yet. Like for the CV parsing solution, we are working with a third party and we are slightly dependent on the availability on that end. But we have this like top of mind when it comes to parsing. And it's also because like it's very much connected to the attribute search that I mentioned. So it is something relevant.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I think, there's one more question, Simona, if that's fine for you. Is there a plan to include AI in recruiting?
I think the short answer is definitely yes, because it is top of mind. And similarly, like if we go back at those three pillars, when you think about like high friction, high frequency jobs, it is top of mind to like improve the experience there by layering AI. We have thought of like different ways. I think we even talked to some of you about like what's something that you're definitely looking forward. So things like summarizing a candidate profile or having AI in the support of like writing job description is something that is on our mind. Where exactly this fits into the next year, I can't say right now with certainty, because it's not that I don't want to, but I cannot. We're still working through that. But yeah, definitely top of mind.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I think other than that, no questions, but we have some feedback we will take with us for sure. Thank you so much. And yes, I think I'm leaving the stage now again. And thank you so much for answering the questions and handing over to Catherine again, I think.
Thank you, Marina. I would love to call out to Siska, who's obviously a super user here. When I was looking for the notification from planning to recruiting, it was a user error, as I expected. I apologise. But Siska, hopefully you saw in the Q&A, got the right answer. I needed to send the position to recruiting in order to get that notification working for Eva. So thank you, Siska, for pointing that out, and lovely to have you obviously as a super user here on our webinar. So finally, just to wrap up, hopefully you've got a good 10 minutes before your next meeting for buy a break, coffee, etc. on this Monday morning. Just to summarise what we've been through, we looked at that connection between planning and recruiting. We also helped you speed up and drive efficiency through the use of tags, the calendar integration, and also setting the right stages and looking at stages a bit more. And then finally, looking at insights and what that can surface in terms of what you might want to do better next year. So just to leave you on that note, really try and have a think about what will be your metric that matters for 2026. Thanks and goodbye.